Good afternoon, 5th graders. Today we're going to do a whole group enrichment activity. We're going to be doing a quick write that's going to go along with the story that you read yesterday called The First Americans. You guys remember reading this?
Yes.
Can you recall some of the characteristics that you learned about in the book about the migrants?
Yes.
What are some of the things that you recall?
They were hunters and gatherers.
They were Navajo and some other kind of Indians.
Okay. This lesson here that we learned also went along with the social studies. You guys read the social studies book, and then we did this read aloud here. Now we're going to go over the key vocabulary words. I'm going to give you each a sheet of paper. And you're going to write down the vocabulary words. And you're going to write down the definitions. The first vocabulary word is the Bering Strait.
Is that 1 or 2 R's?
1.
Oops. I did 1, but I added 1.
The second word is glacier. Next, we have Ice Age. The next one is migrate. And the final word is theory. Do you guys have all the do you guys have all the definitions done?
Some.
Well, go ahead and finish them, and I'll collect them when you're done.
Yeah, you can have it.
Thank you. Now that we have reviewed the vocabulary words, I would like you to describe to me how the migrants lived during the Ice Age.
Can you repeat the question?
Please.
Can you describe to me how the migrants lived during the Ice Age?
They followed herds
To where?
of caribou to wherever they were going because they needed the food.
Okay. Do you recall why they were moving? Why the herds were moving?
Greener pastures.
Because of the melting ice caps.
That's
They
why
had
they
to
were
move.
able to move.
They had to move with the
They
climate.
had to move, yeah.
That's what I just said.
Any other Any other recollections as to how they lived?
That's all I have.
How did they survive?
Hunted.
What did they hunt?
Food.
What kind of
Animals.
food?
Animals.
Meat.
What was their main source of meat?
Caribou.
What was their main source of food?
Caribou.
Okay. Do you guys recall how they hunted?
With
What did
spears.
they... Okay, where did they get the spears?
With the tula tool.
Very good. Alright, now that I have reviewed this, now that we've reviewed this, I'm going to hand you each a sheet of paper. We're going to start our quick write. Now I'm going to give you 5 minutes to do this. What you're going to do here is you're going to let your thoughts flow about the story, about the question that is on there. How did the animals provide for the migrants? I want you to generate ideas. Think about what you know, and I want you to write it down. Don't worry about your spelling or your sentence, your punctuation. Just let the ideas flow through. How are we doing?
Awesome. That's all I got.
When you're writing this, keep in mind all the things that they used the caribou or the buffalo for to help them survive and make it from one winter to the next. Because those are very important things that we need to make sure we understand. Do you need a few more minutes, or are you done?
Done.
Okay. Now I want you to read what you have written and make any corrections in the spelling, the grammar, the sentence structure. Just make sure that it makes sense to somebody else who wants to read it.
I was supposed to write in sentence form.
Well,
I listed.
no, you're supposed to write down your thoughts. It's a quick write in a paragraph.
Oh, well, you know, it's a paragraph. I made a list.
Okay, we'll go ahead and jot it down in a paragraph. Okay, Brandy, do you want to go ahead and read yours aloud to the class?
The migrants hunted the animals in large numbers and took down as many as they could, at times getting more than they could eat. At times getting more meat than they could eat. Once the hunt was over, they began the process of preparing the meat and separating the hide and bones. They used the hides for clothes, blankets, and shelter. They used the bones for utensils such as knives and whatnot. They also used them to make spearheads for hunting.
Very good. The only thing I would ask that you change for future reference or before writing the final part of this would be to use something other than whatnot. Now I would like you to evaluate. I'm going to give you a few minutes to discuss this. Evaluate the differences between their way of living to our way of living today. How have things changed and advanced?
We have heaters.
Okay. We do.
Cars.
Yeah, 'cause how did they get around back then?
Walk.
They'd walk everywhere. Zach, do you have any input?
I'm still writing. I didn't even
We
hear
have
any of that.
butchers.
How have
grocery
things
stores.
changed from back then to the way they are today?
We don't have to migrate.
Unless we want to, right? We don't have to move anywhere unless we want. What about, has cooking become easier?
Mm-hmm.
What about getting supplies?
Walmart.
Right? We have a Walmart. We don't have to kill animals to get the supplies that we need.
Unless it's Black Friday.
Now I want you, if you're having any trouble getting or understanding the whole migration, why they did it, how they did it, you can grab one of the iPads or one of the tablets that are sitting right in front of you, and you can look up information online to see if you can discover how else that we can do this, how else that we can learn what they did and how they did it and why they did it.
You're writing a book?
Mm-hmm. Want to read it?
Uh-uh.
Okay, today we talked about the way of life for migrants. We compared how they lived to how we live today. We talked about the differences in technology, what they would have considered technology, and what we consider technology. We reviewed key vocabulary words, theory, migrate, ice age, Bering Strait, and glaciers. You were then given the quick write activity that allowed you to write down what you learned about the relationships between the migrants and the animals. Brandy read hers aloud to give us some insight as to her thoughts on it and what she gained, the knowledge that she gained. Then I discussed doing a small group activity with those of you who are still having trouble with the lesson. This was done by using an iPad to look at more information about the tribes that migrated from Asia to North and South America.